Well, let's start by comparing Africa with India and China, as you suggest. According to McKinsey, Africa, for example, has more middle-class households than India. India has a population of about 1.2 billion people. Africa in total is about 1 billion people. Well, India, according to McKinsey, as of 2005, had about 14.5 million households classified as middle class. Now, the middle class is defined as a family with an income of $5,000 per annum, which is the threshold at which that household is able to buy durable goods. In Africa, for all of Africa, the number is about 72 million households as of 2005. And in fact, it's growing. In sub-Saharan Africa, which is the epicenter of poverty in the world, in the eyes of most people, the figure is 42 million households. Okay? So you've got roughly about 700 million people, with among whom are 3 times as many middle-class households as in India. Let's take China. China has an urbanization rate of about 45%. In India, it's about 30%. Well, Africa is at 40%. So right off the bat, you can see that Africa is not that different, headlines notwithstanding, from India, China. Let me give you another anecdote to illustrate this point. Ghanaians, among Ghanaians, are famous for being all over the world. Okay? If you go to the US, you'll encounter Ghanaians. You are in London, you'll encounter Ghanaians. I use the places where Ghanaians seek to move as a vector to assess progress. So I know now that there are Ghanaians in China, and that tells me that China is going somewhere. There are hardly any Ghanaians choosing to emigrate or to work in India. So by contrast, I know quite a lot of people, even now, from India, moving to Africa to look for work. So that tells me that the gap, if there is a gap between, say, an India and Africa or China, is not really as big as people tend to think. So you then have to ask, why the perception of Africa as the epicenter of poverty? And the reason, obviously, is because there are some countries which are profoundly troubled. You look at, for example, the Democratic Republic of Congo, which had a huge war, or you look at the Côte d'Ivoire, which had a civil war just last year. But ask yourself, where did the Ivorians flee? They fled to Ghana. They didn't flee, some fled to Paris, but they fled within Africa. So I think when I think of how to think of Africa, I just simply separate it, first of all, into the places which are recovering from civil unrest, which includes military rule, and those which are not. And by and large, you have more recovering. You have places like Sierra Leone, which have gone 10 years without war. You've got countries like Angola, countries like Mozambique. And of course, you've got the biggest economy of all, which is South Africa. I mean, South Africa is now 18 years or thereabouts since the end of apartheid. It's reintegrated with the rest of Africa. Nigeria has moved from military rule to democracy. In the case of Kenya, they moved from attempted one-party rule under former President Moi to democracy. Sure, they've had some very difficult elections. But if you've got your major economies becoming freer, you get a continental lift. Just Nigeria and South Africa alone account for close to half the economy of Africa. So it makes a big difference. Now Egypt has its own difficulties at the moment through the Arab Spring, but still that is a leap towards greater freedom. So I see Africa as, on the whole, moving towards freedom, but I put emphasis on the whole. Words on the whole, because it's a historical process. That means that there are parts where it moves forward, and there are times when it moves backwards as people are uncertain, as people argue, and gradually figure out the way forward. That's perfect for a value investor. Perfect.